It's been a month since 25,000 educators, parents, and students rallied at the Capitol to call for more money for education. Lawmakers are working on legislation to boost funding for public schools, which have seen cuts of $200 million since 2008. The debate has renewed interest on another source of education funding, a revenue stream that some critics say has failed to live up to all that was promised.
When Oklahoma voters approved two state questions authorizing a lottery 10 years ago, supporters projected it would be an economic bonanza for schools. 35% of all lottery revenues are designated as profit and earmarked for education. Backers of the lottery estimated those profits would range from $150 million up to as much as $350 million annually. After the first day of lottery ticket sales in 2005, State Treasurer Scott Meacham predicted the lottery would be a dependable revenue stream for education.
Well, I think clearly it's going to be a strong addition to education funding in the state of Oklahoma. No matter what it does, it's going to be dollars, that we wouldn't have otherwise had for education. But I think you can't say that based on one day's results that what it's ultimately going to do over the course of a year. I think only time will tell that.
If you ask Oklahoma Lottery Commission Executive Director Rollo Redburn about the lottery, he'll tell you there's no doubt it's been a success.
The Oklahoma Lottery is about a $200 million a year business. We've provided the first 8 years of our existence somewhere around $70 million a year to Oklahoma education programs. At the end of this fiscal year, that's going to be more than $625 million that's gone to education programs that they wouldn't have otherwise had. So yes, if you're asking me, I'm saying the lottery was a good thing for Oklahoma education programs.
State Senator Jim Halligan argues the lottery has never been the economic boon supporters claimed it would be.
A, it did not produce the kind of results that was anticipated in the state of Oklahoma. And B, the amount that is being distributed to schools is so small that it is of little consequence.
Profits from the lottery are split, with 45% going to elementary and secondary education, 39.5% to higher education, 5% to the teacher retirement system, 5% to the state school consolidation fund, and 5.5% to career tech. State Senator John Ford says that means public schools only get about $31 million a year.
$31 million is a lot of money, but when you look at that as a percent of the total budget for common education, it is fairly small. So no, it is not something that has made a significant difference.
There's also the issue of whether lottery funds have been used by lawmakers as a way to reduce appropriations for education. Halligan is the Senate author of House Bill 2642, which calls for boosting education funding by $30 million annually, with that money being taken off the top of the General Revenue Fund. During debate on the Senate floor, Halligan pointed to one of the bill's safeguards.
The last thing I'd like to state is the State Board of Equalization must find that the funds are not supplanted. In other words, you can't have what happened with the lottery. They can't use this in order to not appropriate other funds.
The law which created the lottery stipulates the money cannot take the place of appropriations. Senator Ford says since the money goes directly into the education budget, it's hard to say whether the legislature has used the lottery to supplant education funding.
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how you would ever absolutely approve that. There are so many dynamics and so many individuals and groups involved in setting the budget. You can speculate, you can look at the numbers, and you can build a case one way or the other.
Redburn believes the lottery could provide more money for education if certain restrictions were loosened. Topping the list is the 35% profit restriction.
The problem is for us, as it would be for any lottery that has a limitation like this, is that by requiring a 35% profit, you're taking 35% right off the top, and that reduces how much you can put into prize payouts.
Redburn argues if the 35% requirement were lowered, more money could be used for bigger payouts, pumping up ticket sales and increasing funding for education.
We've prepared case studies in the past and presented those to the legislature that demonstrate that every state or every other state lottery that has gone through and improved prize payouts has dramatically increased both sales and profits. And you can certainly understand that while Oklahoma lottery players support the fact that Oklahoma education programs are the beneficiaries of lottery profits. Most people play the lottery because they like to win once in a while and they like to win more.
Other factors affecting the success of the lottery include limits on advertising, restrictions on where lottery tickets can be sold, and laws which prohibit players from using a debit card to buy tickets. Ford says proposals to loosen those restrictions are likely to meet resistance from lawmakers.
They think that it is a bad thing, the lottery, and anything that would sell more tickets, they're opposed to. So you have the philosophical debate. If you do something that's going to sell more tickets but get more money for education, and up to this point, those that believe they don't want to increase the amount of lottery sales have always won out.
There have also been efforts to privatize the lottery to increase funding for education. Supporters claim other states which have privatized their lotteries have increased revenues, but Halligan says the devil is in the details.
I certainly would be open to that discussion, but I want to be able to read the language, find out exactly how much it is anticipated would be charged in order to run that lottery.
Redburn believes unless changes are made in the law, privatization is unlikely to happen. He says no one will pay to take over operations of the lottery if they have to deal with the same restrictions currently in place. Lottery proceeds have held steady since it began, and that's not expected to change.